0.5.
All right, man down. Errol Spence trashes Terence Crawford's resume. Ranks it at 0.5. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. The clip you heard at the beginning was PBC. They did a poll, and I'm gonna make a deeper dive video, unpacked. If y'all want the unpacked, just type unpack or we unpacked in the comment section regarding this topic. But Crawford's resume does not impress Errol Spence. I am not Errol Spence, but that's evident based on his ranking. He gave it a 0.5, y'all. And you will see it on the screen. There's different metrics and categories, and the scale was 0 to 10. Where do you rank power, chin, these types of things. The lowest thing that Errol Spence ranked was Terence Crawford's resume. So he really must feel that Terence Crawford's resume is lacking, which makes sense because Terence Crawford has the worst resume of the two. I'm not saying the worst in boxing or anything, but his resume is not as strong. Who did he beat that you thought could beat him? Like, he was with Top Rank, and in most of those fights were kind of showcase fights. And Top Rank kind of does this. They have clever matchmaking where you see certain guys, like, let's say, I like Shakur Stevenson. I like what he's doing, but Shakur Stevenson versus Yoshido, I never thought Yoshino or whatever, Yoshi, could beat Shakur Stevenson. I barely even know who he is. I just know he knocked out the Nakatani dude that Lomachenko had already knocked out. You know what I mean? So with fights like that, it becomes harder to gauge where someone truly is if it's not against someone that you find formidable. Crawford, he was at 35 at a point in time. There weren't really class names. 40, there weren't really like these big names. Now, I can't hold that aspect. I can't hold Crawford responsible for it, but he made the right move in moving up to welterweight because that's a glamour division. And you got guys like just put it this way. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Name a division that Crawford was in at the time that was better than welterweight. Because at welterweight, outside of Errol Spence, there's other great fights that Terence Crawford still could have to this day. Keith Thurman, Yordenis Ugas, Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. I just named 5 fights outside of Errol Spence that are great fights that would be better than all of the fights he had on Top Rank in terms of just action, threat level, have to use some ring IQ and stuff like that. Not saying Crawford can't win some, maybe even all those fights, but seeing is believing. And that's the reality. Crawford chose Top Rank, then re-signed with Top Rank. They moved him how they did, and they didn't really promote him the same way, right? That the PBC treatment. Danny Garcia, him and his sisters are buying property in Miami and stuff like that. He seems like he got his whole family set up, And that's from smart business moves because Danny Garcia has been a household name because of PBC. Fights with Zab Judah, set great records at the Barclay at the time. Fights with Eric Morales. Danny Garcia, he got a great resume. Lucas Matisse on the Canelo and Floyd Mayweather undercard, pay-per-view. So they did a better job of moving him. Crawford, he chose his side at the time, and he didn't get moved the same way, and it is what it is. But the other thing is they couldn't provide the bigger opponents for him. The best he can get was like Jose Benavidez after being shot, Mean Machine, and Amir Khan and Porter, Kell Brook at the end of their careers. Like, if you look at it, Kell Brook, he fought one other time against Amir Khan, who's equally faded and had been knocked out several times and hurt several times, and then he retired. Amir Khan probably fought one time Kell Brook and then retired. Sean Porter, after the Crawford loss, immediately retired. Versus Yordenis Ugas, he's not talking. That was Errol Spence's very last opponent. He's not talking about retiring immediately. Mikey Garcia, he took a couple of fights and then retired, right? And partly that was because he went and signed to DAZN. If he would have stayed on PBC, I think he could have got some more great fights, but that was his career decision. Sean Porter took 2 more fights for Maya and Crawford after the war with Spence. So, it's hard to argue with Spence's saying that Crawford's resume doesn't lack some. And it's so funny because PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, Al Heyman, they seem to get the brunt of all of this disdain. Like when Errol Spence was on his way up, like literally on his way up, he fought a Nacho Beristain fighter, classic Mexican trainer from Mexico, from the Romanza gym, respected guy. He had a fighter named Barrera. He fought the Barrera dude. And I remember on my channel, Errol Spence was like an urban legend because like he hurt Floyd or gave him a black eye or whatever, and had a great sparring stories with Lamont Peterson, Broner, and Floyd and all these types of things. And people were already checking for Errol Spence on the way up. And he was on the undercard. He fought the Nacho Beristain guy, Barrera. And I distinctly remember people were leaving me comments saying like, oh, Al Heyman, PBC, they just put on these cherry pick mismatches. When is Errol gonna step it up? Blah, blah, blah. So Errol back then, this is before he was a champion, y'all. He couldn't even fight guys like Barrera, who had looked like he had some good size, you know, tough Mexican fighter, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't fight guys like that without criticism. But PBC seems to be the entity in boxing that gets all the criticism. Like Jaime Munguia on DAZN, he could fight Demetrius Ballard. He could fight Sergey Derevyanchenko after Charlo and Carlos Adamez beat up Derevyanchenko, and he had a war with Golovkin and war with Danny Jacobs. Jaime Munguia is not criticized by these same people, right? It only seems to be PBC. So you see guys like Errol Spence and Gervonta and Wilder, people question their resume, but then they don't do it when Crawford was with Top Rank. Like if Errol gets criticized for fighting the likes of Barrera and Leonard Bundu and stuff, Crawford fought Indongo, who was a champion, or even like John Molina. Like, did you really think any of these guys were gonna beat him? Did you think that they were the one? Thomas Delorme at the time he fought him was the guy. Thomas Delorme is a guy you give to like a Jerron Boots Ennis who's on his way up. You know what I mean? Crawford, if you actually look at his age when he fought each individual person, like we're talking about late 20s, early 30s, and he's fighting some of these people like Amir Khan at the point in which he fought him. Meanwhile, Errol Spence fighting Mikey Garcia in front of 50,000 people. He's fighting Sean Porter in a unification. It's just different stuff. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. It was apparent Errol Spence didn't really jive with Crawford's resume because at the press conference, he cut him off and he was like, man, who you beat? You ain't really beat nobody. And I mean, even Crawford, listen to Crawford on Breakfast Club. He said his toughest fights were Mean Machine and Gamboa. These aren't like Hall of Fame, like the best of this generation type of people at the weights that he fought him. You know what I mean? I could think of a bunch of more accomplished guys. Like Mean Machine doesn't have a win more significant than Ugas's best win, which is Manny Pacquiao, especially at the time he fought Crawford. So that's the reality of it. Mean Machine was coming off a fight with Ray Robinson where he drew, and he really should have lost that fight. So kind of hard to argue that he has the lesser resume. But, you know, July 29th, that's where we'll see when these two fighters fight collectively. You know, this will be a big fight, and then the winner has to get credit. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm out. Attention, all YouTube content creators. If you follow my channel, you'll know I use TubeBuddy. Take your channel to the next level with TubeBuddy, which is the ultimate tool for your YouTube success. Unlock a world of possibilities, grow your channel, increase your views, and maximize your earnings. Cha-ching. TubeBuddy features powerful keyword research, video optimization, and so much more. TubeBuddy got your back. But wait, there's more. I got a coupon code for you guys, 25% off until June 30th. If you click my link in the description and enter the code 25buddy, I will give you 25% off TubeBuddy to get your YouTube channel jumping. Click my link in the description, enjoy the coupon code, and happy creation.